Hello, I am Tobey Nelson, certified professional horticulturist, coming to you from the very scenic Venture Out Nursery on Whidbey Island. Today we are going to talk about gardening in dry shade and some good plant choices for you. So lots of us in the Pacific Northwest find ourselves gardening in the forested settings under mature cedars, Douglas firs, and hemlocks, maybe even big leaf maples and the like. And those trees tend to be really good competitors for the water, and they will take the water out of the soil more quickly than some of the smaller plants around them can get. So it can be a fight to garden under these friends. When you do, and you're looking for things to put under those trees, we should first look to our native plants. So things that have evolved for a long time to grow in the shady, dry soils beneath big trees would be Salal and Evergreen Huckleberry. Those are excellent choices for evergreen shrubs underneath large plants that create dense, rooty shade. Rhodies will also put up with that pretty well, and there's so many rhododendrons to choose from. Other plants that I love would be all of the Mahonias. So we have native Mahonia friends, and Mahonia is Oregon Grape. So this is Mahonia aquifolium, the basic old Oregon grape that's so excellent for bright lemon yellow flowers in the spring, such an important food source for the hummingbirds and other nectar insects. There's the little cute Mahonia nervosa, which makes a nice sort of knee-high ground cover for shade, and it does this beautiful wine color in the fall. Also makes little lemon yellow flowers in the spring. Beautiful, beautiful texture. Sometimes when we're gardening in shade, we're looking for a more subtle kind of plant combination, and so working with textures is important, and the Mahonias are great for that. We also have the smooth caress Mahonia, which is caressable. This one gets to be maybe knee-high, mid-thigh height, and also lemon yellow flowers. Great texture. Kind of can add like a pseudo-tropical flair too. So if you want to kind of spice up your landscape, this is a fun one for something a little different. The most majestic of all the Mahonias are the Mahonia X Media group. These are stunning architectural plants. They're fabulous foliage texture. They are sharp, I will give that to you, but they can grow quite large. They're first to flower in the spring, like in January, and at the nursery we have a mature specimen that's worth coming to see. The hummingbirds are doing battle with each other in the spring over the nectar of the beautiful, brilliant yellow flowers. All the Mahonias then go on to make a little purpley blue berry, which is why they're called Oregon Grape. And the birds also love to gobble those berries down. So clearly, lots of choices in the Mahonia department if you're gardening in dry shade. So what if you don't want a Mahonia? Well, another native you could try is our great old Western Sword Fern. So depending on how happy these plants are, they can get to be a couple feet high and wide. When they're less happy, they still survive, and they can do like a foot to 2 feet tall. Evergreen, wonderful. If they get too tatty for you, you can periodically just cut those fronds off in the early spring, like February, and a fresh new crop will follow. So sword ferns, excellent choice for some upright evergreen texture. How about bear's breech? This is not a native, but Acanthus provides bold foliage for a dry, shady corner. This one is Acanthus whitewater, and it's marbled and splashed with white. So you can have a little fun with your texture color. And this big, bold surface is a great texture contrast, kind of shiny, to include in your shade garden. One of my favorite, most durable and dependable shade plants for dry shade are the Epimediums. There's a range of them to choose from. Some are deciduous, some are evergreen. They all tend to emerge with a colorful leaf, usually in shades of like a copper or an amber, and then they mature green, and some of them will do another reddish sort of round of color come fall. And then in the early spring, they will send up delicate little fairy dancy flowers. Some are white, pink, red, orange, yellow. They can look like little fairy skirts. They can look like exotic spiders. They're really, really wonderful. Subtle, but very magical. And tough as nails, good little ground cover spreaders. And then no one should garden in the shade without a hellebore. And so many of the cultivars that are out nowadays have excellent foliage to boot. So this is Pippa's purple. Look at this beautiful marbling in this leaf. She will make purple flowers, but you practically don't need them with this gorgeous leaf and the purple stems. So hellebores, all of them, make a great choice for evergreen in this dry, shady ground cover, dry shady garden. Carex morrowii grass. This is a great one to brighten up your shady spot. Great texture, super tough plant. Every 3, 4, 5 years, you might decide to mow it off because it looks tatty. That's okay. Just cut it back, fertilize it really well. Do this like around March. You'll get a fresh new crop, but you can't do that every year to this plant. But super dependable. Mukdenia is also known as crimson fans, and this is a great texture perennial for dry shade. This is a super, super tough plant, and it turns a beautiful like ruby wine kind of color in the fall. Great, great fall foliage, makes a white flower in the spring. Very, very tough plant. It's a good little clumper once it's established. This is an undervalued plant that deserves more attention. We also have, back in the native department, we have an excellent ground cover for the dry shade, which is Oxalis oregana. Makes a little white flower. I've never found a 4-leaved clover of this Oregon native clover, but I might still keep looking. Then we have a few more to choose from. If you need a good shrub for dry shade, these Aucubas are some of the best. They can take near darkness. They come in an all green version, a serrated leaf version, gold speckles like we have here, gold streaks and middles. Lots of different options to give a little color glisten to your dry shade garden. Similarly, the Lemon Beauty box honeysuckle, Lonicera nitida, is a great little accent shrub for dry shade. This is a plant that also grows really well in the sun, but it will put up with dry shade. And then last we have this interesting conifer. It's Microbiota decusata, and I think they call it a Russian juniper, but that's a great shade-loving conifer that makes this beautiful, low, sort of ground covery cascade. Excellent texture. So you can see that a garden in the dry shade need not be boring. A couple of tips: plant when we're going to get a lot of rain. So in our Northwest area, October-ish is a great time to plant. It's when the soils are wet and they're going to get wetter. Gives the plants a chance to root in while we have all that abundant free rain, and they'll be better established than a spring planted shrub. So there's a tip. Lots of things to choose from. Happy gardening. Thanks for watching.